holding on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome to the Queen City and the home of NASCAR, Charlotte, North Carolina, and the Charlotte International Speedway for round number 14 of the Monsters of Speed Racing League Cup Series. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tony Trapasso, and joining me tonight is a very special guest, the man, the myth, the living legend himself. He is back for at least one broadcast with us. Frank Marchese, welcome home.
Well, special, you nailed it on the head there.
Hockey helmets for everybody.
I've been dying to get back to one of these races. It's been so long. I've been wanting to do one here recently. Opportunity came up where everything lined up on the schedule, so here I am. Can't wait to be back. Can't wait to get back into this.
Well, it's good to have you with us tonight as we get ready to do 300 miles of mile-and-a-half racing here tonight. That's right, 200 laps. Taking a quick look at the weather conditions coming in tonight, Frank. 81-degree ambient air temperature, 31% relative humidity, 5-mile-an-hour winds, which means these engines are going to be making gobs of horsepower. And the track temperature, relatively cool, 88 degrees. So no triple-digit temps tonight as we get ready to go under the lights here at Charlotte.
And that's one of the biggest things about this race is that it's a twilight race. You run from the day and you finish into the night. So those track conditions that you have right now are definitely going to be changing, which means the setup that you have right now probably will not be working quite as well when we get into the night a little bit later on.
It absolutely is the case. Is taking a quick look at the point standings coming in tonight. Dylan McDonald currently atop the pile, 684 points to Greg Wood Jr.'s 540. Jonathan Cogswell right on his tail at 550 or 539. And then we've got a little bit of a gap in the final part of the top five. Angel Santiago, Wes Fuller, both within striking distance of each other. James Jones right there as well. As a matter of fact, everybody that's in the top 10 right now could still get into the top five, especially with Angel MIA tonight.
Yeah, with that 144-point lead, that Dylan McDonald has a lot of that has to do with that 4-race winning streak he had between Suzuka and Talladega. Winning the All-Star race last week at North Wilkesboro, he's going to have a lot of confidence coming in here tonight, knowing that he has multiple races that he could fall apart if he really wanted to and still be very secure in this championship hunt.
All he's got to do is race smart. But, never count out Greg Wood Jr. I mean, that kid can put one together at any time. And, he's shown that over the last couple of weeks. He has had speed, definitely one of the strongest cars in the field for the last couple of weeks. And surprise, surprise, take a look at the top of the current timing and scoring pylon. And it's Richard Gonzalez, Dylan McDonald, and Greg Wood. Big shocker in that top three. I'm being sarcastic as I can be.
Absolutely. And you've also got those three also being winners of 7 out of the last 8 races. Greg Wood being the most recent at Kansas. So a lot of momentum for all of these drivers. It's going to be a great race up here at the front tonight.
It absolutely is. As we get ready to wind up the practice session, we're going to flip it right over to qualifying. As there goes the timer, there goes the checkered flag, and here we go to see who's going to start up front and who's going to be digging the ditch tonight.
And something very interesting that we had talked about over the before we had gone on air, 18 drivers here tonight that are going to be vying for this win. 14 of them are in Fords, which is interesting because a lot of data that we've seen from iRacing shows that the Chevrolet is actually the fastest car and the car that you want to be in, not just on a single lap, but on the long run as well. 14 Fords in the field out of 18 drivers, 3 Chevrolets, and there's always that one Toyota in there somewhere.
Yeah, but take a look at who was on the top of the scoring pylon during practice. It was the lone Toyota of Richard Gonzalez.
Which is usually where it is when it does find its way sneaking into a room.
Absolutely. Is Wes Fuller going to be the first one to start rolling it for his qualifying session? The ace of David Modespaw also out on track. Cody Mitchell out on track as well. Bill Sleep making the call tonight. There is Zach Woods in the 60. James Jones in the 45 here as well. Jonathan Cogswell, never count him out. And there is the aforementioned Greg Woods Jr. Rocking the Matco colors tonight. Right now we're watching Fuller. He is gone purple in the first sector. Let's take a look at what Sector 2 is going to give him. As Fuller goes provisional P1. Here comes Modespaw, though.
Modespaw put down a very, very good Sector 2 time of 15:43 on the second half of the lap. However, he must have clipped a wall somewhere because that lap did not count. He's gone purple now in the first half of the lap at a 15:18.
15:18, and see what the second half of the lap's going to give him. This looks strong. Second lap for Modespaw, good enough for pole so far.
Watch Cody Mitchell here in the 44. He went purple at 15:17 on the first half of the lap.
Up to third.
Comes through. P2 for Cody Mitchell. A 100th of a second off. 30:46.
Greg Wood Jr. going to slot into fourth. Oh, he's on a ripper right now. 3 laps of qualifying tonight. And Wood is on a flyer. So is he gives it all
and he
away.
just
David Mayo is on a good run too. He went purple in the first sector. Let's see what the second sector is going to give him. Second quick for the 08.
Wes Fuller topping Motorspa. 30:44 the new pole time. 30:45 for both second and third.
Oy vey. That's impressive. Plain simple, that is impressive.
Mayo coming out of 4 here on his last lap.
Let's take a look at our current points leader, Dylan McDonald, in the Jimmy Strong 38.
Mayo to the pole, unseats Ricky Gonzalez. Gonzalez had set the lap on lap 2. He's on lap 3 now. Set a blistering time in the first sector of 15:09 on the first half of the lap for Gonzalez this time around.
Gonzalez is he's on the run. Everybody is picked up on that third lap, which is very uncommon. Gonzalez to the top of the heap. 30.28.
Needed to find 100th of a second. He found a 10th and a quarter.
That's one way to put it. As here comes McDonald, kind of giving away the first lap. Not really pushing the envelope too much. Just getting the safety lap in here.
Only Matt Metler.
Gonzalez to the second position.
Richard Gonzalez.
So an all Gonzalez front row.
It's looking like it.
So far, anyways. As McDonald goes 12th quick on his first lap, does not improve in Sector 1 on his... Or does improve. Doesn't improve that much, though. He's going to have a ballistic... And Ricky Gonzalez unseats Rick. Or Richard unseats Ricky, I should say. McDonald up to third quick. He's going to really need to uncork one here. Right on that blue stripe.
Right where you need to be.
Purple in the first sector. Here we go.
Watch this exit off of 4 here. Well clear of the wall.
Rock solid exit. And McDonald to the top of the pile. Nicely done. Red Belzer finishing his second lap. He's going to start 16th. Still waiting for... there we go. Matt Metler starting to roll it. As he now presents to the...
Joshua Billiter, the only other driver that has not attempted a time next to the 93 of Metler.
Metler's still got time to lay one down, and we'll see what happens here.
Everyone except for Billiter and Metler have done their 3 laps.
And the one thing that does concern me, Frank, is the fact that we haven't really seen too many people practicing green flag pit road entries. You know, trying to get on at speed and not, bust the speed limit. We haven't seen hardly anybody do that tonight, even during the practice session.
Yeah, and of the 3 sister tracks, Atlanta, here, and Texas, this is the hardest one of the 3 because it's the one with the tightest turn radius of those 3. So it's a little bit smaller. The straightaways are a little bit longer, which means when you're trying to turn on those old tires to try to woe it down, get down onto pit road, it does make it a lot more difficult.
And it's a more violent transition coming off the banking of 4 to get to the flat to get on pit road.
Absolutely.
Metler,
a little high there.
Metler with the tail wagging the dog coming off of turn 2. Almost gets into the wall, has to burp it. He's going to have to give this lap up to really get after it for his final flyer. Let it really run up towards the wall coming off of 4. That's flirting with disaster there. White flag in the air for Metler.
think he's done.
He's calling it 2 and done. Okay. In the field safely.
First lap stands.
It's going to have to for now. So, just waiting on Biltner to present. And he's going to have to do it in a hurry if he's going to want to get more than one lap in.
He is in the session. So he is here. Wow, it's with how often I'm on the I'm pushing the 1s and 2s. The fact that I actually was able to do that and not worry about messing up the stream was very foreign to me. Wow.
It's kind of refreshing when you can do it, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird feeling when I'm not on the 1s and 2s anymore myself. So
Yeah.
but that's few and far between as of late. But I do want to thank everybody for joining us in the live chat. Joseph McDonald checking in, wishing Dylan some good luck. Greg Wood, thanks for the love. Appreciate it, brother. As if you haven't done so already, you're not going to want to miss a single moment of action this weekend here on Sim Racing Media, as we are not taking Memorial Weekend off. We are racing tomorrow, we are racing Sunday, and we are racing Monday. So don't miss a single moment of action. You owe it to yourself to hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single moment of action here on SRM. And, Frank, talk us through, because you've got way more laps in this car than I do. Talk us through what we can expect tonight with the track temperature dropping.
It's going to be a loose race car at the start, so you're going to see a lot of wiggling and moving around early. Once you start to really get into the rhythm and get into the flow of the race, that's when you're going to see these cars settle down. You might see a second and a half of drop off from the start of the run to the end of the run, and after that, it's going to be you're more or less going to be laboring a tighter car until you put the fresh shoes back on it.
Absolutely. Well said. As taking a look at tonight's starting grid, Dylan McDonald starting up on point, 30.242. 39 thousandths to the good over Richard Gonzalez. Ricky Gonzalez getting bumped to third. He's going to be starting inside of John McIntyre. That is row number 2. David Mayo and Wes Fuller make up row number 3, with David Modespa and Cody Mitchell in row number 4. And rounding out the top half of the field, James McCanney and James Jones.
That'll leave Bill Sleep and Caleb Collins in row number 6. Row 7 will see Zach Woods and Greg Wood Jr. Jonathan Cogswell and Matt Metler will be in row number 8, with row 9 going to Rhett Balzer and Joshua Billiter.
So 18 cars scheduled to roll it here tonight, 200 laps, the scheduled distance. 6 sets of tires to get it done, 65% fuel fill as we start to grid them up there on the front chute.
Waiting on Richard Gonzalez, I think, at this point, as well as Matt Metler. Those are the only two that have yet to pull it grid side.
And you can see a lot of Mustangs on the front of those grills. And like you were mentioning earlier, in the official stuff so far this week, the bow ties seem to have the advantage by about half a tenth, I think is what we were figuring out.
Yeah, it was about a half a tenth as far as race trim lap, the overall stint distance. The Chevrolets have tended to be about a half a tenth ahead, but it doesn't matter all that much when 90% of your field is made up of the one manufacturer. You're in a lot of similar races here tonight with all these Fords in here.
And Richard Gonzalez missed the grid.
Interesting strategy.
Very interesting indeed. Again,
he is still here.
He is, but I don't know if he went to go use the little driver's room and missed it, or what's going on. But this is about to get interesting. Instead, is going to move John McIntyre up to outside front row, I think. Or
no, they're going to move Ricky Gonzalez up to the outside.
Okay.
Typically, iRacing protocol would be that everyone in the lane moves up one position or moves up one lane, but or not. I guess he faked us out.
Well, I guess they
So
are
they
going to do
will.
it that way.
Yep. So McIntyre will take that slot on the outside of the front row.
And here we go. 17 cars taking the green flag. Geico restart zone is in effect. The only thing that's left for me to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab the barbecue because it's time to get it on in Charlotte. Race fans, it's showtime! Green flag comes out. McDonald pulls the trigger. McIntyre goes with him. McIntyre going to be able to change lanes as Gonzalez did not get the getaway he was hoping for. He now slugging it out with Wes Fuller for third.
Richard Gonzalez rolling out of pit road. So either you're right, he missed the start, or that was planned. Oh, big wiggle out of Mayo, sliding into the outside wall. Looks like no one else hit him, though. And the caution will come out as David Mayo, and it looks like David Modespa involved as well.
Absolutely. We're going to go back and take a look at that one. There is the green flag. There is Mayo in the 08. Modespa's behind him at this point. And there's the wiggle. Like you said, it's going to be... Ooh! That was a shot, and then down the track he goes. Modespa thought he was clear. Backs it into the safer barrier in the inside wall, and just like that, we are already under caution number 1, and I think Richard Gonzalez had the right call there, electing to pit start.
Yeah, and that makes a long night here at Charlotte even longer for those two, and you can just see how out of whack David Mayo's car is right now. That is crab walking a little bit.
This is what the eye in the sky picked up. You see it get loose there. He goes up, misses the 45. Modespa goes down to the apron to try to avoid him, and the 08 just kept coming. And you can see just how out of whack that front end is. He's definitely crab walking right now.
Yeah, just that transition coming back onto the flat of the back straightaway, just back end kicked out on him, and that would be fast repair used on lap number 1 for the 08 of David Mayo.
Well, Frank, you definitely called it, saying that these guys were going to be battling a loose condition early on.
It has been very typical with this car. Tends to be really loose, as really a lot of the Cup cars have tended to be really loose. Even the Gen 4 Cup cars have been very, very loose early in the run. And then it's, once you get about 20 or 30 laps into the run, then it becomes just keeping the back end in check. And if you do that, you'll be fine.
We are working lap 3 of 200 under the first caution right now. Modespa and Mayo getting into it on the opening first lap on the back straightaway. So Dylan McDonald, which lane is he going to choose this time? That's the big question here. I think he chose right on the first lap, wanting to put keep Ricky Gonzalez behind him. It looks like he's going to elect to take the bottom lane as we get ready to go back to green flag action this time as well. McDonald, McIntyre, Gonzalez, Fuller, Jones, Mitchell, Collins, Wood, McCanney, and Sleep. Your top 10 as we currently sit. Your current biggest mover is Greg Wood Jr., +7 up to 7.
It was a fantastic start for him. Lining up fourth car on the outside line.
The lights are out on the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car, the official pace car of iRacing. Ford heavy field here tonight. Your top four with James Jones Chevy, the only one inside the top 13.
12 of the top 13. Sporting the blue oval. And a lot of it has to do with driver feel. The Chevrolets, which Mayo just happens to be driving, tend to be a little bit looser than the other cars. There is a difference. They're set up the same, they're built the same, but the way they handle, there is a difference between the manufacturers with how these cars do handle. Maybe that's what's causing this mass exodus over to Ford as McIntyre gets a horrific start on that outside line. McDonald was off and running.
Absolutely is. McIntyre's got to be careful. Here comes Cody Mitchell up the inside as Wes Fuller changes lanes and goes to the bottom of the track. Oy.
Getting out of turn 2 clean there is Mitchell able to just barely keep his nose under the 29 of McIntyre.
We got some beating and banging going on back here around Bill Sleep for 9th and 10th as James McCanney in the 20, almost getting into him in the middle of 3 and 4.
Cogswell in that number 27 trying to move his way up. He did it the right way at least, putting the racing stripes on the car. As everyone knows, it gives you about another 20 extra horsepower when you put the racing stripes on.
Absolutely. Why not? Cogswell +4, right behind him Matt Mettler, who's also +4. Richard Gonzalez trying to claw his way back through this field after missing the grid in the Bass Pro Shops number 23. Oy.
McIntyre finally giving it up on that outside line. Wes Fuller almost pushed up into him coming through 1 and 2. Here comes Wood to the outside of the 78, sorry. Oh, no, the 48. I was right.
You hit it right the first time. The 48 being scored as the 32.
Yes.
Or 35, sorry.
I forgot how hard numbers were.
I forgot how hard English is at times. There's Caleb Collins right there as well in the Whataburger, number 72. Right now, Fuller way down on the low side. Going to slot in between Wood and Collins as these guys pretty single filed out. Everybody playing nicely, but the battle is back here with Richard Gonzalez and Rhett Belzer as they are just going after each other right now.
Gonzalez trying to make his move on that outside line. Toyotas, as I mentioned before, they tend to be a little bit stiffer. So if you like a tighter car, Toyota tends to be where you want to go. Going to gain two positions through 1 and 2 there as he uses that momentum on the high line to get around James McCanney.
Gets by McCanney as McCanney continues to backslide, and I don't think he's happy with the setup of that car yet. Once the lights go down once the sun goes down and the lights come up, that may be a different story. So we got a battle brewing for 4th right now as that's McIntyre and Wood Jr. door to door down the back chute.
Wood, at least on my end, had a little bit of a blink there through 1 and 2.
Oh, contact!
Oh, yep, there was.
McIntyre got spat up the wall.
It's those flared out fenders. The car's a little bit wider. Now, granted, we've had this car on iRacing for the better part of 2 years now, so you should be used to it. But still, sometimes if you don't run these next-gen cars all that often, you do sometimes get caught out by how wide those back fenders are.
Well, even so, I mean, that was still just incidental contact. I mean, there was nothing egregious about it. It was just
no, not at all.
2 cars racing hard, banging fenders through the corner. So McIntyre's going to drop the 6th right now.
Wood seemed really broken up about it. So broken up, as a matter of fact, he went right past Cody Mitchell through 3 and 4. It's now on the back of Ricky Gonzalez in the 7.
Absolutely. I guarantee you Mitchell goes, where did he come from? Matco Tools, aplenty on the side of the 78 this week. Currently sits plus 11. So definitely gave something up in qualifying, but he's found it here in race pace.
Yeah, absolutely. Ten of the top 11 Fords. Richard Gonzalez working his way forward, looking to the outside of the 60 of Zach Woods. A couple steps away from getting back into the top 10 after pit starting.
And with the way that start went, I can't say I really blame him.
Woods caught the apron there through 4. Wiggled a little bit.
Again, happy Memorial Day weekend to everybody. And leave us not forget what this weekend is truly about. There's three different days set aside each year for our armed forces. There's Veterans Day, which is where you thank the veterans for their service. There's Armed Forces Day, where it's active military and reservists that get to thank you. This weekend is Memorial Day, where we're going to remember those men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice so that we can enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy, such as very good racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Craig Wood is having a major problem right now in that number 78. He was at a 4-digit ping a moment ago, as you like to say. Now I can actually see what that looks like.
Yeah, it's scary when you see it, isn't it?
Yeah. When your ping is about double my credit score, there's a problem.
Yeah, usually.
Yes.
Usually that's a bad thing. I don't care.
Great battle here.
He's going after Gonzalez, though. God bless him.
He somehow stayed in, didn't get the throughput, and now up to second.
It's got to be terrifying for those around him, though.
Yeah, it's terrifying for me, and I'm just watching.
It's the top 3 starting to pull a little bit of a gap on Cody Mitchell, who runs in 4th in the 44. And right behind him, that's Wes Fuller. John McIntyre starting to heat things up.
Yeah, McIntyre and Fuller just swap positions. So this little trio here, but I've been watching the trio behind them. That 27 of Cogswell, James Jones in the 45, Caleb Collins in the 72. Those guys were just battling. Had a nice little 3-way battle between these two. And Cogswell, Greg Wood has been very, very fast, but Cogswell has been right on it.
2 of the fastest cars on track, and we missed the pass, but Richard Gonzalez up into the top 10 after electing to pit start. So good run for him as Joshua Biltner taking it down pit road for some reason. That's an unscheduled pit stop, I would think.
So a great battle
for 5th, hot and heavy.
Yeah, the Wes Fuller just got around Cody Mitchell. Now Mitchell trying to hang on as that third trio there is starting to work its way back up to this group. Mitchell does just hold on.
Mitchell hanging on by the skin of his teeth as McIntyre would love to get back up into the top 5. And that battling has let Cogswell close the gap on them.
.45.72 also coming in there. McIntyre, nice little run coming into this race. 14th in points. Best finish of the season. We're back at Kentucky. That was 3rd. Couple 4ths bracketing that at Talladega and Richmond. Finished 5th in the last points race a couple of weeks ago in Indianapolis. So that 29 has been on a very good run here recently.
Absolutely has been, and a little bit sideways coming off of 4, caught that transition wrong. Luckily keeps it pointed in the right direction. Still door to door with Mitchell. Mitchell not giving it up on the top shelf.
No, that outside will work around here. There's a lot of run that you can get coming off of these corners, especially turn 2, as you see Mitchell take it right there. But you can hang. If you know how to run the outside around here, you can definitely hang wall riding. That's how the 23 of Richard Gonzalez has made most of his passes, hanging it around the outside on the high line.
Now, Frank, let me ask you this. With this track going to get tighter, do you gamble on a 2-tire stop at the stage break?
I would really only take a 2-tire stop early in the race so I can figure out whether or not it could possibly work for me later on. That's really the only reason why I would ever take 2 is, boy, it's getting really close. Cogswell sees those 3 coming up in his mirror. He's not, he's saying, all right, you 2 figure it out. You're keeping me up here. Let's figure this out.
He's thinking about making it 3 wide as now Mitchell's going to, McIntyre's going to shut the door, drag race down the back chute here. Mitchell on the high side, McIntyre on the low side, Cogswell following. And here comes the 70 deuce of Caleb Collins.
Yep, Collins looked to the outside going into 3, didn't have the run. So now these 2 battling side by side for as long as they have. It's been a good 6 or 7 laps now at the 44 and 29 have been side by side. Has really closed everyone up, and you can see Cogswell getting impatient as the 44 catches the wall in 2.
Just a light touch, but don't look now. But here comes a very angry Richard Gonzalez as he's making the move on James Jones in the 45. Now is right on the back door of the 70 deuce of Caleb Collins. That 23 is on a rip as finally Mitchell gets clear of McIntyre. Here comes the 72 to the inside of Cogswell.
Cogswell going right to that outside line, holding that 23 back. It's not going to have the run to get up to McIntyre. Actually catches the wall out of 2.
72 of Collins just sending it, going into 3. As Cogswell battling all he can on that top side. You know, he saw it work for the 44. I don't think I can blame him for going up there, as now he looks to the inside of the 29 of McIntyre going into 1 and 2.
29 of McIntyre almost hit the wall coming out of turn, coming through 3 and 4 that last time around. Gets a great run out of turn 2 here, right around the 44.
So Mitchell had to chase it down the track coming off of 2. He caught that transition wrong. Now Mitchell and McIntyre going back at it. They just Mitchell now on the, McIntyre on the high side. And here comes Collins again.
You see this all the time on multi-groove racetracks like Kansas. Inside line gets a great run on the inside of the corner at the entry, starts to push up in the middle, and that's where the outside line really starts to take command. Saw that with the 29. Look at how much the 44 is going to close up here, but as he starts to push up in the middle of the corner, he's going to lose some of that ground back.
He is, as now the hot battle is back there between Zach Woods and James Jones. They finally got that sorted out, as here comes Mitchell again on Collins.
Mitchell trying something different, trying that outside line, not comfortable with it, gives Collins the position. While we've been sitting here watching this, by the way, that front trio has broken up. Dylan McDonald is a 2 1/4 ahead of Ricky Gonzalez and Greg Wood, about 0.6 of a second or so behind the 7. So Gonzalez has gotten back past the 78, and they're still falling back.
McIntyre's got a little bit of breathing room for 5th, and then it's hot and heavy from 6th on back to about 10th. Actually, make that 11th. Now Collins has the clean air, and the battle rages on between Gonzalez and Cogswell. Sorry, that's Gonzalez and Wood.
I was just about to say, I want to highlight Zach Woods here in the 60. He was really slow at the beginning of this run, but that was because he was saving those tires. Now, as everyone's sitting here racing side by side, wearing those tires out, we're late in the run. this is his time now. He's going to start picking these drivers off. He may not be the fastest car on the racetrack, but he has fresh rubber now, and he is trying to use it to pick his way through this field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you take a look at the fall off that everybody's going through right now, and about a second and a half for everybody except Wood. He's just a tick over a second, so almost half a second better than anyone around him right now. Is now Wood working the inside of Mitchell going into 3. Mitchell not happy on the high side.
You know, and you can see he's holding that inside line a little bit better than everyone else around him. That 45 of James Jones is doing a good job of holding that line as well. But the 60 of Woods is really doing a great job of rolling that bottom line as he now goes to the middle to try to catch up to Coxwell. Woods, I'm trying to help you, bud.
If he's listening to the broadcast, you are helping him. But right now, it's the 45 and 44 of Woods and Mitchell going after each other. Contact in the middle of 3 and 4.
Something has happened up here at the front. Not quite sure what it is or what it was. Greg Wood has completely fallen off. He's fallen off about 2 seconds off of the 7, and Gonzalez has caught half of that gap back up to McDonald. What was a 1.2 second gap is now just 0.6.
Well, I mean, that's the problem you run into a lot, Frank, is, you know, let's take a look at the splits here.
Fastest car on the track, Ricky Gonzalez.
Fastest, yeah, by a lot. But
he had a 31.40 on McDonald did a 31.40 that last time around. Gonzalez a 31.37.
But Frank, you know as well as I do, when you're leading a race, it's hard to gauge how hard you're going in the early going. Yep. Because you don't have anybody to pace off of, really.
Oh, absolutely. And Wood fell into that trap of, I got to get up through this field as quickly as I possibly can. While the leaders are doing 31.4s, he just did a 31.76. He is the slowest car in the top 6 right now. And that's all because he drove like hell to get up through the field.
Yeah, and you got to wonder what's going on with Richard Gonzalez, because he was driving like hell too. Because now here comes Belzer to his inside. Gonzalez may have gone way too hard in the early going. Mettler closing in as well. But now that battle for the lead, it's a 2-car tango as we're working lap 37 at 200, and they are closing in on a lap car. And it looks like that might be Josh Biltner.
Ricky Gonzalez, 17th in points. Coming into tonight, has only competed in 5 races. Won 2 of them back at Auto Club in Dover, finished 2nd at Kansas. So he may not have been here a lot, but when he has been, he's been very, very successful in that number 7.
Had a very strong run last week during the All-Star break. But right now, he's giving Dylan McDonald all he can handle.
It's just a little bit quicker as that's the 48 of Billiter. Billiter, who came into pit on lap 18. James McCanney has come down pit road in the number 20. He is done for the day. 17 cars remaining on track here as we work lap number 39.
Going pit side as well. So
this is about it. We've had a couple of caution laps. Nothing too crazy. This has been a decently long run. I wouldn't think the pit stops are coming this early unless you're trying to set yourself up for the stage break.
Yeah, but even then, you're going at least a lap down.
Door contact between Matt Mettler and Rhett Balzer. Through 3 and 4.
They kept him under control, though, so that's the good news. Zach Woods continuing in his climb forward. Is now he's still on the back of Cogswell, but he's got James Jones right there as well. Is now Woods looking to the inside, battle for 7.
Fantastic run down the back and into turn 3, and he's going to take that spot. Very, very good run there for the 60. And talk about guys using up their tires, as you mentioned, Tony. Richard Gonzalez running like hell to get up through the field. He's fallen back to 12th. He was as high as about 7th. He's fallen back.
He's just got to hang on till the stage caution. McDonald's going pit side.
Road.
Just barely getting it woed down in time. That's going to give Ricky Gonzalez the bonus point for leading the lap. Greg Wood Jr. up to second. You know, we were talking 65% fuel fill. I didn't know if they could make it to the stage caution or not. And looks like 42 is about all you're going to get. 42 to 45.
That would make more sense as to why they're pitting now. James Jones also ended up getting past Cogswell in the 27.
Cogswell trying to battle back, though, is I don't think he wants anything to do with Matt Mettler back there in the Red Bull 93.
Brett Balzer in the 94 coming in, surrendering the 11th position.
Fuller and Collins really starting to heat things up for the final step of the podium.
Fuller's been running a little bit quicker. Now here he comes. Greg Wood coming in as well.
Jones and Woods staying out.
Matt Mettler in, Richard Gonzalez in. Cody Mitchell in.
You got to wonder how much longer is Ricky Gonzalez going to hang it out there, being as here he comes. That answers that question.
I was going to say, once he sees this lap time, I think he's going to start coming in. Dylan McDonald coming out of turn 4, crossing the line right now. That would have been a 31.57. He did have a little bit of traffic there, but very, very quick that 38 is going to be.
It is, and you got to wonder what's going to happen when Gonzalez gets clear, because that 7 on fresh tires has been very strong. As right now, Caleb Collins keeps it out there. And
Gonzalez is going to jump him. There's a chance he's going to jump it. Oh, he's got up on the track on the right side tires. Oh, he might get an unsafe pit exit penalty here.
Well, let's go back and take a look at that. Here he is coming out of pit road.
Jumps up on the track a couple of times. If he doesn't get the penalty, he's jumped McDonald. 2-tire stop for Gonzalez.
Well, we're going to watch this one. This is what the eye in the sky picked up. There he is after the pit stop. Coming out of pit road now. Watch the blue line. Flirting with it there. Oh, yeah. No, he's definitely going to get dinged for that one, because that was 2 tires over the line.
And that would be an iRacing penalty, not a league penalty.
Yeah, that's not anything that they can really do about that.
Should have 3 laps to serve it, though.
Yeah, but the question is, when is he going to serve it? As Collins finally comes in, Motorspa, the only one left to come down pit road.
Oh, somebody's around on the back. Jonathan Cogswell. Caution's out.
And that Mustang is a mess.
Bluetooth
right front suspension. There goes the fender. Let's take a look at what happened with the 27 here. Trying to hustle it.
Yeah, lost it. There's a couple of bumps there on pit exit, just beyond.
Right there. There's one.
That blue line. And it gets him.
Oh. Ow.
Almost had it saved, too.
Yeah. He almost did, but unfortunately he was sideways in front of the 44.
Now, I'm assuming the stage break was lap 50, correct?
You know what? I honestly don't know. If you want to jump up into another room and ask.
Yeah, let me Let me see here. I do not see where race control is.
There is not a race control in the race control section of race control. You would probably going to want to drop down to Titletown and
Yeah,
ask a
let's
couple
see.
of those guys because they are admins.
Yeah, will do.
And while he does that, we're going to step away, pay a couple bills, and we'll be back right after this.
Back here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Monsters of Speed NewGen Cup Series, round number 14 from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The investigative reporter has done his investigating, and what I have investigated was that stage breaks are going to be on lap 50 and 115, which would mean that this caution here will be the stage break, which means David Motorspa, by not coming into pit, is your stage 1 winner. So number 1, who was backwards and damaged at the end of the first lap, is going to be your stage 1 winner.
And being as he was able to take the pit stop under the caution flag, it's only dropping him to 8th. So good on you, sir, for being able to stick it out that long. And he finally got that damage repair, so that's what cost him the time in the pits. Greg Woods Jr. Going to be restarting from the point, electing to take the outside lane.
Other way around. Balzer is the one that will be starting. And the reason for that is Balzer did not pit under this caution. He came into pit on lap 42. Richard Gonzalez in the 23 also not coming into pit. He came in on lap 43.
So a little bit of pit strategery going on there tonight.
It's always fun.
Absolutely.
Especially with a car to your outside blinking on the front row.
Sure, why not?
As if given this wasn't hard enough.
Ain't scared. Be the car in front of me that I'd be worrying about. As they come into the Geico restart zone, Belzer has the button. pulls the trigger, and we are back underway. Gonzalez not getting the restart he was hoping for on the low side.
Now, older tires, that's what'll do it. Side by side for second right now. Ricky Gonzalez in the 7, going after Greg Wood Jr. Now, Wood, again, he was incredibly quick on the fresh tires early, splits the difference, goes right down to the bottom of the 94, wasting no time.
Another coat of paint, those guys would have been in trouble.
Looking at the spotter view, that was a lot further. That was actually a lot further away than it looked.
Fair enough. Right now, though, here comes the 38 of McDonald, who led a good chunk of that first segment. Currently sits in 4th as he's got a very hungry Richard Gonzalez behind him. McDonald and Belzer door to door going through 3 is McDonald almost into Gonzalez in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, now that one was close between Ricky Gonzalez and Red Balzer. That 7 just about cleared himself into the outside wall off the front end of the 94. That was very close.
McDonald going to send it up the inside as now Gonzalez looking to the inside, coming down the back chute, looking to make the move on Belzer. Belzer keeping him in check. Belzer running a little bit higher line. And I can't say I can fault him for that, only because he's not abusing the right side tires quite as heavily as if he was trying to keep it all the way cut to the low side.
About a half a lane up, so he's doing what he can to try to dissuade, as it's a 48 coming out of pit road, trying to do what he can to dissuade Richard Gonzalez from going around the outside by taking a little bit of a higher entry, but also closing that bottom line off, as Dylan McDonald sets the fastest lap of the race at a 30.26. By the way, Greg Wood did not take tires under that caution, just topped it off with fuel. He's running on the tires that he came into pit with at during the first stage.
Well, he's probably expecting another long green flag run. He's packing it full as much as he can.
Saving a set of tires as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be the biggest key to tonight's race, is who can save those set of tires. As McDonald did change. McDonald changed, Gonzalez changed, both Gonzalez's changed. Belzer is only on just the one set, so he's still pretty decent. And so far, it looks like he's the only one that hasn't burned a second set.
Here comes McDonald looking to the inside of Wood. I think the drivers that you saw here with the shorter pit stops are guys that took 4. Oh, almost contact out of 4 there between the 78 and 38. But I think, getting back to what I was saying, I think the drivers that pit and took 4 tires here took 2 at the stage, or took 2 during the green flag stops, and the guys that took nothing here took 4 under those stops.
That would make the most sense. And that's why I love having you in the booth, Frank, because...
Oh, there's a whole lot of pinching going on. Contact around goes to 78.
Oh, don't hit him. Don't hit him. Don't hit him.
No, we're good. Ooh.
Good grief. Let's watch that one again.
There's a whole lot of pinching going on through 3 and 4. And that 78 came very close to hitting the outside wall, and unfortunately, that might have been... no, there's no might about it. That was net code. Which would make sense considering how much Wood has been blinking tonight.
Well, let's watch it from the eye in the sky. As you can see him door to door there in the middle of 3 and 4. Daylight, and no, there was contact.
Oh, well, I saw, well, at least on my end, I saw net code. There might have been contact at one point, but at least at the point of...
Here, let's watch this from... This is what Ricky Gonzalez saw. There you see the daylight, still see daylight. And there's the contact.
Well, there you go. I guess it was. it's fun when you have two different people calling the same thing but getting two different results.
But that's why we do what we do, to come to the bottom and get a good
Absolutely.
conclusion, to make sure we get the call right. And all that we get to do is try to aid race control in the post-race reviews.
And I was looking at that replay you showed of the 7. I'm not too sure. The first bit of contact was definitely legit contact. The one that put him around, I'm still not too sure.
Well, that was still they were both trying to save it.
Oh, agreed.
So.
Yeah, no, it's just that like I was saying, that second bit of contact, just the first one was hard racing, the second one was them trying to save each other, and I'm not too sure if the second one was actual legitimate contact or not.
I might give you that one, yeah.
First one definitely was.
Yes. That got them both loose. And then
yes,
in the bid to try to save both cars, they both went up, and unfortunately Greg came out on the losing end of that whole exchange.
Still not sure how the 78 didn't hit that wall off of 4 with how close he was out there.
Yeah, that did look ugly. Oh my God!
Good old tough racing at Charlotte. You love it.
Yeah. One thing I don't love is when I bite into a Bartlett pear that's spoiled.
There it is. Atta boy.
Don't mind me, folks. I'm just trying to have dinner.
Tony Trapasso, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
For those of you wondering what that tasted like, you ever have uncooked sweet corn?
No.
Yeah, go with that thought. Meanwhile, Ricky Gonzalez stays out, as does Richard Gonzalez. Mettler stayed out. Everybody else came down for at least a top off of fuel. Means we are working lap 62 of 200 here tonight. And we have seen quite a bit of action already, Frank. And, you know, this is the type of action we've come to expect out of these guys week in and week out. Good, hard racing. And that's been every accident we've seen so far, is hard side-by-side racing.
Yeah, and it's this being my first exposure to it. It's definitely been great racing. A lot of, as you had mentioned, a lot of close side-by-side racing, and it's been very, very clean. And it can't even really fault what happened to cause this incident. It was just two drivers trying to race for the lead, albeit we're just past the quarter mark, but two guys just trying to race for the lead, do what they can, and
it's been good racing.
Got a little too close.
Yeah, and you expect that. It happens in the real world all the time.
Absolutely.
But if you haven't done so already and you're watching this at home, smash that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single moment of action here on Sim Racing Media, as we do have racing all weekend long. Tomorrow night we've got the Vast Tour. Sunday is our full-length World 600 with the Sunday Night NASCAR boys and girls.
Have fun with that.
And then Monday, the All-Star Late Model Series is coming here to Charlotte.
There you go.
So
those late models, as we know, Tony, those late models put on a show.
Yeah, they do.
Place.
And talking about those late models, did you
It's
see what happened?
AI.
Did you see what happened with the third place finisher of our AI series, Miss Tony Bradenker?
I believe she has a truck ride now. No,
she has a truck ride, and she is also a Victoria's Secret angel.
Well, I mean,
she was that to begin with. I mean, just
green
without the
flag is
title.
out. Green flag.
It's Gonzalez and McDonald picking up where they left off. It's now McDonald is in a Gonzalez sandwich, and I don't think he wants to be there right now.
And both of the Gonzalez's did not pit under that caution.
McDonald did.
McDonald did, but he didn't take tires. He took fuel only. So everyone's still on the same tire that they were, just filled up with fuel.
And they're almost to you can make it from here territory with the stage.
And you got to make 115 is where you got to make it. Matt Mettler falling back a little bit, losing some ground to Cody Mitchell. Now the 29 of John McIntyre looking to the outside of the 93.
McIntyre's been quick all night, especially on some fresher shoes. And it looks like he was one of the other ones that came down to top off with fuel. And don't look now, but there is our stage 1 winner back into the top 10, now working for 9th. Oh, Greg Wood Jr. got spat out coming off of 2.
See, I'm showing Motorspawn 14th, sir.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, I was thinking of our other broadcast partner, Mr. Zach Wood, number 60.
Zach, congratulations. Tony says you won a stage, so it must be true. Big push there by Greg Wood. Almost put Mettler into the wall.
Yeah, Wood is definitely driving it hard right now. It's Mettler still trying to save it. As here comes the 27 of Cogswell to the inside of Wood.
Cogswell got shafted a little bit by the way these cautions have come out. One, obviously, by being the caution the first time, and now this time sitting in the back of the field. So he's got some ground he has to make up. He was running as high as 5th earlier on tonight.
Absolutely, and your current biggest mover is the aforementioned Matt Mettler, as Woods and McIntyre going door to door. We got a battle for the lead between McDonald and Gonzalez.
McDonald really pushing that number 7 right now. Had to back off. That's actually might cost Richard Gonzalez a position, and it will. That 38 had to back off so much going into turn 1 because he was right up on the 7 that it ended up costing the 23 a position as he had to check up even more.
Well, he was definitely checking up because he didn't know what was going to happen with Gonzalez and McDonald. They're still glued to each other.
McDonald knew the corner was coming up and really let off to give the 7 the room to get in. And the 23, he wasn't expecting that big of a checkup.
But they all did the right thing. That's the good news.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
You never want to try to push somebody, especially in the corner here at Charlotte, because that'll end disastrous for both of you. So heads up driving for everybody in the top 5 right now.
I will take losing a position over losing my race car.
Absolutely. As the battle starting to get hot and heavy again for 7th between Zach Woods and John McIntyre.
Woods been doing a very good job at keeping McIntyre behind him. McIntyre was up in the top 5 for a good portion of the run, the beginning half of the run. Then started to fall back as I believe McDonald has finally gotten to the inside of the 7.
He has at that as they are door to door coming through the dog leg into turn number 1. McDonald's going to send it.
Got it.
Got him. As Fuller and Gonzalez start to heat things up for 3rd again.
Joshua.
Go ahead.
Joshua Billiter had a big moment. Slid coming off of turn 4, just about hit that pit wall on the inside. Didn't hit anything, slid into pit road.
And immediately put it on the hauler.
And he did.
Let's go back and take a look at what happened with Billiter.
Just lost it.
Got in trouble coming off of 2. He touched the safety barrier right on the exit. And that car is a little bit tail happy.
He's been having a very rough go of it tonight, has Billiter.
Comes through the chicane on the front stretch. And there you go. That's what happened to Billiter. So now we've got 2 retirements. 16 of the 17 cars still running. David Mayo in the 08, the only one not on the lead lap. And as we're going to go back and take a look, is Richard Gonzalez starting to fade a little.
Yeah, I think Gonzalez might be conserving a little bit. We saw how good he was at the end of the run. Cody Mitchell starting to move his way back forward, running in the 4th position in that number 44. Now the 45 of James Jones trying to look to the inside of the 23, but the 23 using that banking to get the run out of turn 2. He's going to get back up to the outside and by the 44 of Mitchell.
Go back to what worked for you in the early going. It's where he was making all
Absolutely.
his passes during the first stage, and he tried playing follow the leader, and now that he's able to run that higher line, he's able to carry a little bit more speed. Goes back to the low side, looking to the inside of the 40. Sorry, that would be the 40 being scored as the 35 of Wes Fuller.
One thing, though, about Richard Gonzalez, he was one of the 2 really quick drivers. It was him and Greg Wood that really significantly fell off and were running about 4/10 slower than the race leaders at the end of the long run in the first stage. So he's going to have to do something to adjust and make sure that doesn't happen, especially with him being in the top 5 right now.
Well, the fastest car on track the last time by was the 23 of Gonzalez. As a matter of fact, half a tenth to the good over anybody near him.
Well, half a tenth, that's not that bad.
Yeah, but add that up over 30 or 40 laps, and you've got something. As Jones and Wood start to heat things up, Zach Wood continuing his claw back forward. Currently your biggest mover up into 6 at +7.
McIntyre following him right through, so I think McIntyre is content to just follow Woods right now. Woods is moving forward. McIntyre can't really get by him. May as well follow him.
And both of them on very similar fuel strategies. Both of them came down on lap 60 under the last caution to pack those things full of fuel. With the pace that they're doing, I wouldn't put it past them to try to stay out till the stage caution.
I wouldn't either. It's going to be close. She did 42 laps with a caution in there. I mean, you might have to pit around the century mark, so about 20 laps from now, you may have to come into pit. You might start seeing them as early as 95. But one thing's for sure, it will be 4-tire stops this time. There won't be that mix of 2 to 4, and everyone will be taking 4 here.
Yeah, because we've already learned quickly that 2 tires, just the car gets way too loose.
It is going to get a little bit better, though. You can see the sun is starting to set.
We're about quarter to 8 in sim time.
Yeah.
And that track temperature has fallen a few more degrees, so hey, here we go. Starting to heat up as McIntyre looks to the inside of Wood. He's going to use the 44 of Mitchell as a pick.
What did you say? It was 88 at the start of the race?
Yes, sir.
So we've gone down 3 degrees. They
keep it together.
Always get nervous side by side off of 4 because the car wants to just jump out into that wall.
Yeah, and that's where it gets really scary, especially if you're the outside car.
Yep, we've seen it already. It was the last caution.
Greg Wood Jr. way up on the top side as Cogswell looking to the inside in the 27. Mustang on Mustang action here is they're both picking them up and laying them down right now. Battle for the final step in the top 10 is now Cogswell up to 9th.
Surprised, and I understand why these two haven't necessarily moved up at their pace. And what I mean by that is you would think with how fast these guys are, they would have moved up a little bit more by now. But again, the 78 was very, very poor on his tires during the long run, during the first stint. And Cogswell is down a fast repair after being a cause of the caution that brought out the stage break. So I could see why they're showing caution here.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
But you take a look at the fall off. They're not that much different than what your top runners are doing. Maybe a couple of thousandths difference. So they're not really showing fall off like they were in the first stage. So this is a good thing. They use that first stage as the learning stage, and now, they're getting ready to set up for the final push to the finish. It's about to get fun.
These last couple of laps won't really be indicative of their true pace. Dylan McDonald last time around is now he's battling with Ricky Gonzalez for the race lead, who just took it. Gonzalez did a 31-34 last time around. Compare that to Cogswell and Wood, who were behind a slower car and then battling amongst each other in the 31.5s. So not really indicative of their true pace.
This is true. But now they got some clean air, and they're starting to claw their way forward.
So another way that this race has changed. We saw around this time in the stage, during the first stage, McDonald was about 1.2 seconds clear. Gonzalez was a half a second ahead of the driver behind him. Now we have 4 drivers instead of 3 drivers spread out over about 3 seconds. We've now got 4 drivers spread out by less than 1.
And, they're 4 of the strongest week in and week out, with Ricky Gonzalez, Dylan McDonald, Wes Fuller, and Richard Gonzalez. And like you mentioned earlier, the only reason Ricky Gonzalez isn't higher in the point standings than he is coming into tonight is solely because he hasn't made every race.
And Richard Gonzalez, this being the highest that he's been tonight, as far as the run goes, he has restarted a little bit higher than where he is right now, but he pit started. Yeah. So he put himself at the back. He had qualified in the second position.
Yep.
So he put himself in the back, and he's had to pass all these cars. So this is the first time we're really getting a chance to see his true pace tonight as well. Greg Wood battling for position, trying to get one from Cody Mitchell. Cogswell goes by 2, as does Matt Metler. So Mitchell bleeding 3 spots and a half a lap.
Yeah, there's something not right with the 44. And Greg Wood Jr. starting to blink again.
Mitchell, I'm sure, being stuck on that outside line. Did a 32.14 his last time around.
Slowest of all lead lap cars. Metler looking at the inside of Cogswell now.
Metler gets it too. Nice pass from the 93.
And here comes the 70 deuce of Caleb Collins to the inside of Mitchell as well. Something's not right with the 44, and I wouldn't even hasten to guess as to what's going on there. But that 44 is going the wrong way.
I think it's just he really doesn't like that outside line. He's been very, very passive when it comes to guys going around him on the inside. I think if you put him out to that outside line, he gets very, very uncomfortable and would rather give up the position instead of fight it to get back down to the bottom.
Well, I can't say I blame him, but he also could be in fuel conservation mode as Richard Gonzalez peels off.
From fourth. This was it. This was a little bit earlier than I thought, but lap 92, or lap 93 now.
Well, you said sometime within the next 20 laps we were going to be seeing him, and here we go. Gonzalez, the first one to flinch.
Ricky Gonzalez will probably be the next one. You can tell he's using his tires right now. He's opened up a 1.4 second gap over Dylan McDonald. He is running away. He is using what is left of the good of those tires because he's going to be coming in here soon. Try to build up as big a gap as he can. 1.5 seconds now he's got.
Well, you figure lap 42 for Richard, lap 48 for Ricky. We're closing in. We're closing in on, well. We're closing in on 50 laps on the tank and go fast. And if that's the case,
well, for those guys, there were 2 cautions in there as well. For the guys that came in on 60, there hasn't been a caution since they last came into pit. Mettler's slow out of 2. He might be coming in this time. He was another one on lap 48. Ricky Gonzalez in. Dylan McDonald in as well. That's interesting.
Here's our Wood, Cockwell, Mettler, Mitchell. McIntyre stays out in the Miller Lite Ford. And he's got his rearview mirror full of Wes Fuller.
Very interesting to see McDonald come into pit road here. He was one of those guys that came in on lap 60. And we are seeing 2 tires. Dylan McDonald wins the race off of pit road.
Fuel only.
Yeah, it's fuel only for both of them. Well, ain't that interesting?
Craig Wood Jr., the first one to have taken 4. Oh, don't do it. He was flirting with it. Now McIntyre, your leader. Fuller in second. Caleb Collins, Zach Wood, and James Jones all have yet to come down for what should be their money stop for the stage. And you got to wonder, how much longer are they going to be able to stay out?
63 there of Bill Sleep that just came out of pit road. Ooh, Motorspa into the fence. Motorspa has come into pit already. He came in on lap 82, so he short pit this.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just the top 5 who have not pit. McIntyre, Fuller, Collins, Woods, and Jones.
They're trying to trap the field a lap down.
Be a good bet and effective race lead. Right behind the 72 of Caleb Collins. And now Collins blinking as well.
Collins is in trouble. And I'm wondering why McDonald and Ricky Gonzalez aren't running harder than they are. Knowing
tires.
Yeah. Oh, that's
they're
why.
On the same,
they're on the same
tires. They've got the same fuel. They're just on the same tires. Now here comes the 7 of Gonzalez looking, just taking a peek to the inside of the 38. Wes Fuller in.
And now means Collins is up in second as they are battling hard behind him between McDonald and Ricky Gonzalez.
Oh, almost contact there between the 7 and 38. Almost got into the left rear corner.
Looks again going into 3.
Big dive.
Big send. And he's got the move done in the middle of 3 and 4.
He does. Gonzalez had pulled about a second and a half, a little bit more than a second and a half on McDonald. McDonald had a great aggressive pit entry and also had a 1.2 second faster fuel stop. McDonald a 6.93 second stop, Gonzalez 8.07, resulting in the flip.
Problem is they're 34 seconds adrift of your race leader. Caleb Collins has seen this in his rearview mirror, and the last thing he wanted to see was Ricky Gonzalez get clear of Dylan McDonald.
Yeah, they're all on the same bit of track. And Caleb Collins is really closing down McIntyre as well. He's beating him by a good 0.2 of a second a lap.
Whataburger 29 looking very, Whataburger 72 looking very strong here tonight. As we are
looking better than a spoiled peach.
No, it was a pear.
Oh, a pear, sorry.
No, a peach you can tell as soon as you cut it open. The peach didn't look funky at all until I bit into it and it tasted like uncooked corn.
To me, it's amazing how pears even stay good for long, because you look at the thing funny and it bruises.
You're not wrong. Greg Wood
This is
Jr. now working on Dylan McDonald. Wood on
new
fresher tires, so he's
Yep.
able to make that move work. And Zach Wood brings it pit side.
From third. Just the top three, McIntyre, Collins, and Jones. They are going to have to pit before the end of the stage. There's only 10 laps to go until the end of the stage here.
I don't know if they actually do have to pit. Because you figure
60s.
Caleb Collins was down on 62 for fuel.
There goes Craig Wood, just right around everyone. Craig Wood would be your effective race leader here. Oh, here comes McIntyre down pit road from the race lead. Caleb Collins coming in as well. James Jones will be the tell. He's in the middle of 3 and 4 now. He is coming in too. So they all pit together.
So that gives your effective race lead to that man, depending on what everybody else does. If they take fuel only, it's going to be a drag race for the final 7 laps of this piece.
It'll be interesting to see what he does as far as the pit stops are concerned. I don't know if he took tires after the spin. I would have to assume he did. So he might be a set and a half short on everybody else. Richard Gonzalez taking over second. Another one who took 4 tires. Jonathan Cogswell coming up as well. Just past Dylan McDonald for 4th.
McDonald is struggling. He's probably thinking to himself that he should have at least taken 2.
Well, let's save the tires. You don't get as many points for winning the stage as you do winning the race. So put yourself in a good position to win the war, not necessarily the battle.
Absolutely. Is SRM's own Greg Wood Jr. out of Hagerstown, currently showing the way by 2 1/4 seconds over Richard Gonzalez. Both Gonzalez back even with the board as Richard elected to pit start. Ricky back up into 3rd. Jonathan Cogswell in 4th sits plus 11. But your biggest mover is your race leader currently, Greg Wood Jr., at plus 13. after not having the qualifying run he was hoping for.
It's about to be in just a moment, but the top three, if the 27 get this pass done, top three are running about a second quicker than the 7 and the 38 who did not take tires.
Well, I mean, this track has always been, give me 4. Ever since, back in the street stock days when you were a rookie in iRacing.
Yep.
Anytime, if you could take 4 tires, take them.
Lap 13 during the day, lap 16 during the night. It's when the back end started to come around on you.
Yep.
It's amazing how something like that makes such an impression. It's like clockwork every single time. During the day, if you were really pushing, it was lap 12. If you weren't pushing too much, it was lap 13.
Yep.
These tires are going to start lasting a lot more now because we are starting to get into the night. Pit road has been closed. Lap and a half away from the stage.
And that track temperature continues to drop. We are a full 5 degrees cooler than when we started the broadcast.
Two to go.
2 to go as Greg Wood Jr. continuing to show the way. McIntyre and Collins starting to heat things up as these were 1 and 2 for a while. And it looks like fuel only for both of them.
Yep. Figured we only got to do 10 more laps on these tires. May as well just save the time.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Metler, I think, took 2 on lap 95. He's coming up behind them right now. Very rapidly.
Well, here we go. Final lap of this stage, allegedly.
About halfway down the back is Wood.
Through 3 and 4. Green and white checker in the air. Greg Wood Jr. going to win the stage.
Probably waiting for a couple more cars to come across the line. Zach Woods right now running in 10th. He's coming off of turn 4 right now. So if that's who they're waiting for. Yep, it was. Caution is out.
And there is your top 10 for the stage. Wood, Richard Gonzalez, Cogswell, Ricky Gonzalez, Belzer, McDonald, Metler, Collins, McIntyre, and Woods.
Very, very nice run. A little bit of a blip, but other than that, very, very good stage.
Absolutely. And with that, we are going to step away and pay a couple of bills. We'll be back right after this.
back here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, getting set to begin the third and final stage of the Monsters of Speed NewGen Cup Series, round number 14, here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Greg Wood will be starting from the pole here for this third stage. Jonathan Cogswell be lining up to his outside. The two cars on the inside lane did not take tires under this stage break. Green flag back in the air. Great restart from Greg Wood.
Blinkies and all, getting a good restart. Here comes Ricky to the outside of Richard. Gonzalez for third. David.
Contact.
Big
Opens
contact. Oh, hang on to her.
Oh, wow.
How did they save those?
Very, very opportunistic from Dylan McDonald. Part of the reason why he has that 144-point lead in the championship. Gonzalez and Gonzalez coming together off of two, open the door for him. What a move.
That's when you put your foot into it and just pray.
Yeah.
Here we go. Battle for the lead as Cogswell looking to the inside of Wood. Going into three. Cogswell gets the clear. Fresher tires and all.
Again, everyone did come into pit under this stage break. However, the 78 and the 23 were trying to get a set of tires back, so they did not take tires. So they're on the tires that they had at the end of stage 2, and that is really hurting the 23 right now.
That absolutely is. He, started second row, and now he is hemorrhaging spots, looking to almost drop out of the top 10 if he's not too careful.
As we mentioned, the Toyota is probably the most comfortable car to drive as far as it not being too loose. But as this racetrack is getting tighter and tighter, as it gets darker and darker and the track temperature starts to come down, that 23 is going to be getting tighter and tighter as well. And the Toyota, for the most part, through iRacing, is the slowest of the three on a week-in and week-out basis.
Unless you're in drafting at a super speedway.
Yes.
As we found out at Daytona.
There's always exceptions to the rule.
Battle for third getting hot and heavy as Ricky Gonzalez on the old shoes. He's starting to hemorrhage spots now. Oh, Modest Paw gets into the wall off of 2.
Greg Wood on the outside losing the spots. Zach Woods to his inside. Boy, a couple of cars almost came together. I think Wes Fuller and Rhett Balzer just about came together off of 4. It's Balzer in the 94 on the outside. Fuller on the inside.
And we've got a new fast lap of the race. Caleb Collins, 30-16. Almost a 10th quicker than anyone else has gone tonight.
I think that's still about 2/10 off of what the fastest race time has been over this these last couple of days that Charlotte has been the official week.
Oh, hang on to her, Wes Fuller. Touching the apron going into 1 is never a good idea.
Tried to stay committed under Balzer in the 94. Not able to do it. Motorspaw getting under the 78 of Wood.
Through the block on Belzer. Belzer had to back out of it.
Wood, the winner of the second stage. Motorspaw, the winner of the first. Oh, and then hard into the wall for Wood. Out of 2.
Yeah, that was definitely a sketchy moment. Everybody around him had it well spotted, though. Jonathan Cogswell out to a 2.25 seconds to the good right now over Dylan McDonald. And I cannot help but think that Cogswell is going way too hard, way too early on this set of tires.
And we saw it earlier with the 78 and with the 23. Pushed too hard too early, and by the end, they were They were
junk.
What was it, a half a second quicker, half a second slower
Yeah.
than guys like McDonald and Ricky Gonzalez.
Completely junk in the second half of that first stage. But, yeah, now he's out to 2 seconds and gaining as McDonald, Gonzalez, and Zach Wood all run stem to stern right now, second through fourth. As here comes Gonzalez to the inside of McDonald.
Zach Woods is having a fantastic race right now in that number 60. He started in the 13th position. Didn't really see him much during the first stage. Started to come on at the end. And he has rarely been going backwards. He has been very, very good running in the fourth spot right now in that number 60.
Currently sitting +9, so stellar run out of that team. As right now, these top second through fourth, they're losing a little bit of ground to Jonathan Cogswell, but they're gaining, or they're making a gap between Zach Wood and David Modespaw. Because Modespaw has a hornet's nest behind him.
They're all in the same strategy as well. They all came in on lap 117 at the end of the stage. All took 4 tires.
The only difference that I can see is Caleb Collins came down at the tail end of that caution and topped off the 70 deuce.
Yep, so did John McIntyre in the 29. He topped off as well just as we were going green. Just want to say really quick, unfortunate night for David Mayo in that number 08. Got loose coming out of turn 2 on the very first lap, lost a lap, taking the getting back to pit road and getting his fast repair. He has been stuck a lap down since lap 2 of this race. Cody Mitchell right now in the 44, who we saw up towards the front earlier on. He is a lap down now after a slow pit stop. May have had to get up, I believe, from the sim. So he was about 2.5 minutes in pit road. He is now the lucky dog recipient as Mayo continues to just not have the luck.
Well, the good news is he's starting to gain on Mitchell. And that is the good news. They both have gotten by Richard Gonzalez, who's way off pace right now. As a matter of fact, of the cars that completed a lap last time by, Gonzalez was the slowest at a 32.25. Compare that to Cogswell, your race leader, at a 30.71. So almost 2 seconds off the pace.
I'd be interested to see if he hit a wall somewhere. This can't just be... You're kind of at the point right now where this can't just be because you didn't take tires.
Yeah, no, he's had problems somewhere. As we're watching this battle between Caleb Collins and Rhett Belzer. It's Collins on the Belzer on the high side, Collins on the low side. And Wes Fuller right there in the mix as well.
Honestly, that 23 looks pristine. I think it might just be that he's off pace right now. Balls are doing one heck of a job, though, on the outside. Able to stick it up there against the 72.
Making it work. We saw this work for Collins earlier. He was making passes on the high side. Now, makes it stick coming off of 4, gets the run and gets the clear. Now he's going to put Belzer in the sights of Wes Fuller. Fuller flirting with that apron. Looks like Modespaw may have caught the wall off of 2 again.
And again, it's that half a lane up that Balzer's running. It's too high an entry for the driver behind to commit on the outside, but there's not enough room on the bottom to try to get around. I wouldn't call it necessarily defensive driving, but it's one that'll certainly hurt the driver behind you's chances of taking a position.
He's making it difficult, and that's what a good driver does.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Are we going to see the dive bomb?
Got the nose in before Balzer could get down.
Now they're side by side. Balzer's going to have to let it eat on the top side. Nope. Fuller going to get the better run. And here comes the 29 of McIntyre.
McIntyre's done a really good job of that all night. Sticking behind guys, let them open the door, and then drive right through it, right behind him. He's done that several times tonight that we've seen.
Fifth.
Oh.
Collins and Modestball were making it a little bit difficult on each other, getting into 3. Modestball wisely backing out of it, knows that there's still a ton of racing left in this one, as we are 60 laps to go.
About halfway through this fuel run as well. If you can get to lap 160, you know you're good. We went green at, 121, 122?
Yep. Oh! 94 of Belzer just got sent.
.35 of James Jones was near him.
I blinked for a second and I missed the actual contact. There's 45 to the inside.
Yep, it was.
We're going to take a look at this from a couple of different views. And it looks like just problems off of the corner.
Oh, no, I was looking at it long ways down the back. That 45 was...
Yeah, he was pinching.
Inching up ever so slightly.
Let's take a look at what the eye in the sky saw, shall we?
It's like he had one wiggle, and then got into the corner finally.
So here we go. You're going to see it coming out of turn 2 here. Around goes the 94.
Jones has been given an EOL for causing an incident, so he will start from the back of the line. Everybody in. And the assumption would be everyone taking 4 tires, because you are going to have to pit again before the end of this race. Cogswell wins it off of pit road.
We're going to go back and take a look at this one from what McIntyre saw. This is looking back at that incident. You can see the 45 just creeping up and just gets into the quarter panel, and around goes the 94.
One thing we hear about a lot with these cars, especially around the super speedways, is how much side draft and side force that these cars really create. Just maybe trying to pinch up a little bit, try to take that side draft, maybe pull himself along on that inside a little bit further, and just got a little too close.
Unfortunately, that seems to be the case, but you know, it's funny, Frank. You know, this is, yes, we've had this car for a couple of years now, but it creates its downforce so much differently than any other full fender stock car, any other oval car, I should say, in the server. You know, every other oval car, you take a look and, you know, here, let's go on board with the 60 of Woods, as we're going to go on the nose, and you can see just how short that rear spoiler is. So this car doesn't create its downforce by pushing the top of the car down. You see those vertical stripes at the back of the car, folks. It actually, that's a vortex generator, and it sucks the car to the track. And when you get next to somebody like that, it is so much easier than it ever has before in the Cup car to be able to get somebody loose just by taking that side draft off of them.
The smaller spoilers as well. And another thing, I'm going to call out 5 guys in here: Ricky Gonzalez, Zach Woods, John McIntyre, David Modespaw, and Bill Sleep. all 5 of those guys have one thing in common, and that is they are not A licenses. Those 5 are B licenses. So those guys don't get the chance to run these cars all that often if it's not in a league. All 5 of those guys are, well, I should say Gonzalez, Woods, and McIntyre are above the 3.0 to get promoted to an A license in a couple of weeks when this season ends. So that statistic will change, but not all of these guys are A licenses, which means they can't run endless official races in this car to try to suss it out.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case. Now, the good news is week 13 is next week.
That's, well, we're in week 11 now, so yes.
Not this coming week, the following week.
Yes, yeah.
So
The week of, well, they're in Charlotte this week. Where the heck is NASCAR next week?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that.
That's a
all I pay attention to is when is Miami.
They're worldwide tech. So the week of Sonoma, which fortunately will be the last week that NASCAR on Fox will be broadcasting the races this season, that is week 13, which means that is when those guys will get their promotions.
How do you really feel, Frank? We know you're not a Fox fan.
Field going through 3 and 4 right now.
Here's the sketchy part. Just about everybody, as a matter of fact, everybody in the top 12 came down for 4 in fuel. They're still going to need to come down for a splash and dash. Now, the question is, did anybody save tires?
They are.
And if so, when do you flinch?
If you're Ricky Gonzalez, you need to flinch a little bit faster than that. Great start from Jonathan Cogswell, as Dylan McDonald getting a good jump, able to slip into the 2nd spot.
Zach Wood had to check up real hard to stay off of Gonzalez. Oh, Woods, Greg Wood Jr. gets sent coming off of 2.
Loses a spot there to Matt Mettler as well.
Woods and Fuller going after each other now. It's a 60 able to make the top side eat, as looks like Cogswell is feeling the pressure from the points leader. Cogswell, McDonald, Gonzalez, your top 3 right now. Zach Wood,
big wiggle out of 2.
Oh, boy, that was big. And that's going to open the door for both Gonzalez and McDonald to get to the inside of Cogswell. Cogswell's got to regroup. He's got to stay focused and stay calm. Zach Woods sideways off of 4. And he saved it.
The first mistake Zach Woods made, I believe Wes Fuller followed him through. He just didn't make the mistake as badly as the 60 did. Great job from the 60 to keep that thing straight. Wow. My goodness.
Wood kept that off the wall by sheer will.
The luck. Matt Mettler didn't. Caution. Big hit. Big hit for the 44.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my. Just saw the replay. That was a really hard hit.
Well, watch this. As the 44
to the 44
and the 93 are going to have some battling here. They're right on each other. Mettler's going to bang the wall. Has to chase it down the track. The 44 just gets turned. And hand grenades the engine.
If you saw that in real life, the commentary following shortly after that would be, those are the kind of hits that scare you.
They are.
That 44 went
really
in hard.
That's really our first, thank God this is a simulator moment of the night, because it happened right into the dog leg. And that track the wall came up so fast. Oh my goodness.
I know it was the other end, but it's almost like Davey Allison at the All-Star race.
Or Bobby Allison at Talladega.
Yeah.
Richard Petty at Daytona.
Like I said, I know Davey was down at the other dog leg, but
Yeah.
doesn't take away from how hard that hit was.
No, that hit was bad.
Host of guys coming down pit road: Ricky Gonzalez, Cogswell, Motorspa, Zach Woods, McIntyre, Bill Sleep, Caleb Collins.
We are on board with Mitchell. Watch this. He was fifth gear, still on the throttle when that thing hit the wall.
Don't really have much time to react and do anything else there.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a thank God this is a simulator kind of moment, because if that was real life, we'd be having a different conversation right now. They would have red flagged this race.
The last car on that replay that you saw go through there was the 08 of David Mayo. Remember how I was talking about him not getting the luck? Well, he just got one. He just got some. He took the wave around. He did not pit under the stage, under that last caution, stayed out to get the wave around and got the caution that he needed. He is back on the lead lap and back on cycle with the leaders.
And he took a set of tires here on lap 150.
Because he didn't pit in the last caution.
Right, so he was able to take that set, as he's going to line up right behind 60 Zach Woods, as we got some takers bringing it down pit side.
Trying to fill it up, make sure you can get the rest of the way. Caleb Collins, Cogswell, Matt Mettler.
That's a big ask. I mean, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to come in at 1 to go, not with 2 to go. And even then, you're gonna have to save 2 laps anyways under green flag conditions. And then if you do get a late race caution, like we have seen happen, that strategy's out the window. But that's how you win. If you're doing the same thing as everybody else, the view's never going to change.
Matt Mettler, by the way, given an EOL for that. Not sure how. He might have gotten the EOL for the damage that he received. Maybe didn't think that he was going to be able to get back up to pace. If he got the EOL because of the incident, I would consider that a little harsh. But with how damaged his car was, I wouldn't put it past that he got the EOL because he was just trying to not give everyone a black flag.
That's probably the case, because he was limping that car to get it back to pit road by sheer will.
Caleb Collins in again. Cody Mitchell 2 laps down at this point. Only 2 retirements so far. Joshua Billiter done after 70. James McCanney done after 32. Everyone else still out there plugging away.
And as the lights have gone out on the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car, so you've got 3 Fords of McDonald, Woods Jr., and Fuller. The highest running Chevy is Rhett Belzer in the 94. Richard Gonzalez's lone Toyota rounds out your top 5, and then you've got James Jones in the only other Chevy in the top 12. Going to restart in 6th.
Got a little bit more Chevy help coming his way with David Mayo back on the lead lap.
That is the good news. And Mayo's on the fresher tires too. So
he's got 50 laps to make the dream come true. He's running 50 laps in a 200-lap race.
How many times have we seen that though, Frank?
Kyle Larson last year.
Need I remind you of the iRacing East Super Speedway Series a couple years ago?
Please do.
The guy that was the final race of the
yes, the
season.
snow. You're right. Yep, I remember.
Didn't get
remember
a
now.
caution. Raced his way back onto the lead lap. Got the caution with 3 to go, and won it
Won
in
the
overtime.
championship.
Big wiggle out of McDonald.
Big wiggle out of Wood as well on that outside line. McDonald got himself righted a little bit quicker. Wood having to deal with Fuller. I think it might be the other way around with Wood blinking like that.
Oh yeah, he is blinking profusely now.
Boy, Wood dives right to the bottom of McDonald going into 3, wasting no time.
McDonald, though, battles back. Drag race going into turn number 1 as they're still side by side at the tail end of the dog leg. Wood sending it on the inside. McDonald hanging tough on the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies.
Top 2 in the championship, and Wood really needs this. Again, 144 points adrift of Dylan McDonald. Only 1 point clear of Cogswell behind him. Boy, and there was contact between these two earlier on, remember?
Oh, yeah. They're not afraid to trade paint. Wood just disappeared for the entire front stretch. Uh-oh.
He's still in.
What just happened to David Mayo?
Oh, no, don't say that.
I'm being dead serious.
He's in the pits. He wrecked it. We're still green, though.
We're still green, but let's take a look at what did happen to the 08 here.
David, my guy, we hyped you up so much.
Oh,
I hyped you up so much.
Ow! That'll rattle
Oh.
your fillings loose.
Oh. Boy, you really can't hit anywhere soft on the front stretch.
No, not at all.
It's always a brutal hit.
Hey, Frank, do me a favor. What is the ping on the 78 right now?
Good question. 75 right now.
That's not too bad.
No, I would say not.
As looks like Rhett Belzer got into the wall coming off a 2. That's going to let Zach Woods reel him back in. As Richard
Boy, and Wood.
Go ahead.
You can tell Wood not playing around, forced the 38 up the track going into 3 and 4, was able to clear him, and now Ricky Gonzalez trying to take advantage and gets the spot. So now there's another car between Wood and McDonald.
As he McDonald slammed the door on Wes Fuller, going, "Yeah, no, you're not getting through 2." I gave up 1 only because I didn't know where that blinker was going.
Oh,
Cheapers.
Donald might be a little frazzled here. Hit the wall. We haven't seen him get that close. 7 of Gonzalez. Look at the inside of Wood.
You know, you can defend on that high lane, but you're going to punish the right rear tire, whereas on the low side where Gonzalez is, you're more tempted to punish the right front tire by trying to keep it down there.
But on the bottom, you're rolling the car longer, right. So you're saving the tire. It does sound very counterintuitive. It's the tighter radius turn. But because of that tighter radius, you're rolling the car more and putting less stress on those tires.
Uh-oh.
That's why yep, contact.
This is going to hurt.
Oh, we're good. We're good. All good. Gonzalez keeps it straight. Merges nicely. Staying green.
That contact let McDonald get through as well. Back to the race lead. As here comes Fuller to the inside of Wood. Wood having a lot of right side damage now. Starting to struggle.
See what happened there, at least from my end, and I'll be able to tell you from there. Oh no, that was another incident like what we saw earlier on. That the 7 started creeping up the track, ended up getting into the door of the 78.
Oh, 3 wide.
Look at Zach Woods up the middle.
Zach Woods, you're a braver man than I am.
And me, for that matter.
3 wide at Charlotte never seems like a good idea.
Unless you're a truck driver the first lap of the race tonight.
I wasn't going to go there, but since you have, yeah.
Look at the pace that 60 is showing. Just as easily win this thing.
Currently sits on the podium as Richard Gonzalez bangs the wall off a 2. That's going to let Belzer get a run on him. And Woods going back to the bread and butter that got him towards the front. He's going to that outside. He's not afraid to let it eat on the top shelf. Because now he looks to the inside of Woods. Woods looking to the inside of Wood going into 1. I can English. I promise I can, folks.
Why I call out car numbers. For Zach Woods, only 2 finishes inside the top 5 this season. Finished 3rd at Talladega, 4th at Auto Club. 2 very similar tracks as far as high speed. His last race was Kansas, missed Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago, finished 11th at Kansas a couple of weeks ago. Only 5 top 10 finishes for the 60 this season.
It's in an absolute slugfest right now for the final couple steps of the podium. And again, Frank, I don't think we've seen the money stop.
No. Especially from the drivers that didn't pit under this most recent caution.
Right.
Certainly not.
The only couple that I can see that might be able to do it would be Caleb Collins, maybe Mettler and Cogswell, but that's going to be a stretch. They're going to have to save a couple laps here. Collins, the only one in the top 10 right now that has even an outside shot at doing it.
Zach Woods also came in under this last caution of lap 150. There's only 8 laps of tire difference, which might be why the 60 is showing so much pace right now. He gets into second. He's got 3/4 of a second to make up to Dylan McDonald right now, who's checked out. I still don't know. I still think everyone's going to have to pit at least one more time.
Well, if you take a look, Collins, Cogswell, and Mettler all came down on 152. Everybody else came down on 150 that did pit. That's a big ask. It's not quite as big of an ask as Mettler. Mettler's the first one to flinch to come down for the money stop.
And he's good to go from here. The golden number was 160. We've seen these guys go 40. So if you could make it to 160, you're good. So Mettler's good to go the rest of the way from here.
The question is, who's going to be the next one to flinch? Because Mettler's going to have to really turn the afterburners to full send once he gets those new tires. He took fuel only.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. He was only 8 seconds in his box. If anything, at most he took 2.
Yeah, he took lefts. Left side tires only for the 93. I mean, track's tightening up. Left side tires
are going to tighten the car up more.
It doesn't get you quite as loose as taking rights only. I wouldn't have done it, but I could see where the thought came from.
Gamble.
Track and ambient temperature still going down, by the way.
As we're watching this battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, it's Wes Fuller, Greg Wood Jr., and Richard Gonzalez going after each other. Ricky Gonzalez right there as well. Oy. So close going into 3 between both Gonzalez's. Modespaw peels off to go pit side for his money stop.
I think we're within 10 laps. So the guys that came in on 142, Dylan McDonald, Wes Fuller, Craig Wood, Richard Gonzalez, Rhett Balzer, I think those guys are within 10 of coming in.
I think you're absolutely right, because they've got to leave themselves enough time to claw their way back forward over the guys that are probably going to gamble it. And then the question is, do you take rights? Do you take lefts? Do you take none? Do you take 4?
We've seen a lot of these guys, no tires, 2 tires with short distances to go. I don't know about that strategy, because if you think McDonald, let's just say McDonald comes in, takes 2 tires. Greg Wood comes in and takes 4. Yes, Wood is going to be far behind, but he can push a heck of a lot harder than McDonald. He has the ability to push a lot harder than McDonald.
But with this being a fixed setup league,
well, that doesn't matter. It's tires.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is, with this being a fixed setup league, are 2 tires going to be the call to get the car free enough to be able to drive the final few laps of this race? I don't really think we've seen a true 2-tire situation, under anger tonight, Frank. So, it's a gamble either way, but we're definitely within you can make it from here range as long as everybody comes down. Sleep is on pit road right now. Looks like he's taking 4. Being scored as the last car on the lead lap currently. But McDonald out to almost 2 full seconds over this battle back here with Ricky Gonzalez, Zach Wood, Wes Fuller, and Richard Gonzalez. And then you got a little bit of breathing room back to Greg Wood Jr. And then you've got some good separation throughout the rest of the top 10. And just as I say that, John McIntyre and Rhett Belzer are starting to go after each other for 8th.
It's looking like what we saw with, I believe it was the 7 earlier on, where it's, we're coming into pit again, use up what you got now, because we're going to be coming in, so don't leave any meat left on the tire. Just burn it down now, pull that gap.
Apologize to the Goodyear representative after the race.
Yeah, pretty much.
This battle for 4th is Richard Gonzalez just hounding Wes Fuller. Goes to the top shelf. That didn't work as well as he was hoping for.
While you're talking about Richard Gonzalez, Ricky Gonzalez, completely under our noses, is back in 2nd. He had fallen down to 7th after getting sent to the inside. Going into turn 3, lost all that ground, lost all that time. He's in 2nd. And now
McDonald's
here comes McDonald. Yep. 180.
Gonzalez is another one of those cars. Now, if he wasn't turning in the fastest laps of the race so far, of cars that were still at pace, I would say that, if he was saving, he could have had an outside shot at making it. We're 20 to go. Now, not so much. He's going to have to cut off the undercut. And he's coming in this time.
McDonald taking 4. Greg Wood taking 4. Ricky Gonzalez coming in early, but again, he's not coming in early because he necessarily wants to. He's coming in early to try to cover off what the 38 and the 78 just did. So by coming in, you don't want to lose that time on the fresher tires, so you come in immediately after to mitigate that damage as much as possible.
Wood's going to stay out another lap as Richard Gonzalez is going to come in.
4 tires from Ricky Gonzalez and Wes Fuller. Same thing with Rhett Balzer in the 94. He took 2 actually in the 94.
Yeah, he did. There he is, but here comes McDonald. McDonald already up to speed. Ricky Gonzalez on cold tires right behind him. That's your effective race lead.
David Modespaw, 2.5 behind Ricky Gonzalez, just set the fastest lap of the race at a 30:14.
Wow.
That one is scooting stage 1 winner.
There you see it, 30.138. Wow.
Richard Gonzalez, 4 tires. So now the 4 drivers that are yet to pit, Zach Woods, Caleb Collins, John McIntyre, and Jonathan Cogswell, all came in on 150, 152, 150, and 151. So the last caution. So they're not worried about trying to cover off McDonald, Gonzalez, Wood. They're running this as far as they can take it and then pushing as hard as they can for the final dozen laps or so.
Well, the question is, I think Caleb Collins in the 72 is currently in the best shape of those 4 because he packed it full of fuel with 1 to go. He got in just before pit road got closed as we got ready to go back to green. Cogswell is in the next best shape because he came down the lap prior to that. Woods and McIntyre came down on 150, so they had to have saved a lap somewhere.
Here comes McIntyre.
Yep.
McIntyre was one of the lap 150s. Woods was the other.
That moves
Woods is coming
Cogswell up.
Woods down the back right now. Be interested to see what he does here.
He's staying out.
Yep, he is.
You know, let's
McDonald
take a look.
is the next car behind him, too.
Yeah, but McDonald's also got to go all the way back around to catch him.
No, he doesn't. Woods is going to pit. Unless Woods is fuel saving here.
That's what I'm looking at, because you take a look, he's quite a few mile an hour off the pace.
Let's see. There goes McDonald.
Well, he was off the pace.
He's not clutching it.
No,
he's letting it get down to about 6,700 before he starts to pedal it again. He's letting off and rolling a lot.
I think he's going to try to make it.
I think he is as well. I'm not sure with what he's doing right now.
I don't think it's going to be enough.
Because that's his race. Yeah, that's his race right there. The car's in front of him. That is his race. I don't think he's doing enough to cover that off. Well, to be able to make it. I think he'll cover the distance, but I don't think he'll make it. McIntyre, by the way, is done. McIntyre pulled off when he came down pit road. He stopped. And now here comes Woods.
Yep, you let it go too long. It's going to move Caleb Collins up to the lead. And like I said, Collins, of all the cars, he was in the best shape because he came down on 152. If he had saved 2 laps of fuel early, because he hasn't really been battling during this stage. If he had saved 2 laps of fuel early, he might be able to make it.
Woods is going to mitigate some damage here. He only took 2 tires.
And there he is, gonna
Just
goes
got
a lap down now.
That's an interesting decision. Driver chat, I'm noticing. Oh, never mind. It was a mistake, I guess.
Okay.
Say driver chat has been disabled. If it was the text chat, I was going to say there really hasn't been much action. I can't hear what's going on over comms.
Collins just letting everybody back by. And he's still pulling a little bit of a gap on Jonathan Cogswell in the 27, who sits in second right now, who is just hemorrhaging time to Dylan McDonald. There's McDonald, who we know can make it, sits in third, half a second to the good over Ricky Gonzalez. There you see Gonzalez right behind him. And these guys are now 10 3/4 seconds adrift of that man in second, who's 10 seconds behind that man.
Just saw what Collins was doing.
Yeah.
He's letting it get down to about 6,900. So he's not going as low on the RPMs as Woods was, as here comes Zach right back past him to get his lap back. He's not going as low as Woods was. However, he's rolling the car longer. It's taking him longer to get back to full throttle than what the 60 was doing.
He's trying to save those handful of laps to make it.
Only got 5 to go.
And we're going to be handshake lap this time by, as there is your current race leader.
Well, it was slow. It looked slow from my vantage point. It looked like he was coming in.
The Whataburger Ford Mustang out of Canyon, Texas, has an 11-second gap back to second place, Jonathan Cogswell.
Don't lose too far sight on this Dylan McDonald, Ricky Gonzalez fight. No, it's for third right now, but it might be for the win, and they are very close.
It all depends on if Cogswell and Collins can make it. They're both in fuel conservation mode right now.
Cogswell came in a lap earlier, came in with 2 to green, and is not saving as much as Collins is. Collins is about 0.7 of a second slower than Cogswell right now. And they're both losing 2 seconds to the 38 and the 7 a lap. Going to be coming to 2 to go. This is going to be really something if Collins can keep this.
Ooh. Well, I think they're going to catch the 27.
Oh, no. Oh, Collins is clutching it now. Collins has started clutching it.
2 to go. Popsicle sticks in the air for your race leader. And there you can hear it. He's stepped on the clutch to let that thing coast. A 7.5 second gap back to second place. If he makes this, this is going to be the call of the year, Frank.
I think he's
off of turn 4. White flag in the air. Guess what? We're racing back to checkers, folks.
He's gotten comfortable with the gap. Oh, boy. Dylan McDonald is like right on him now. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. As McDonald has gotten around Cogswell. Here they come.
Oh, no! He's out of gas! Caleb Collins is out of gas!
Dylan McDonald and Ricky Gonzalez are going to fight for this win. Gonzalez gets a great run coming through 3 and 4, hits the wall. It's not going to be enough. Dylan McDonald will take his 6th win of the year, and the championship lead extends further.
That is absolute heartbreak for the Whataburger crew. Running out of gas in the middle of the back straightaway on the final lap.
With how quick Gonzalez and McDonald were catching, I don't think if he would have made it, I don't think he would have won the race. He would have finished third at the very least.
Still, it's a heartbreak. I mean, they gambled.
Absolutely.
And, it almost paid off, but there you go. Your race winner, Dylan McDonald, the pride of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And Frank, I believe you've got our race winner with you now.
Dylan McDonald, congratulations. Those last couple of laps, I'm sure it was a very, very tense one for you trying to catch up to those guys. What did you see coming down that backstretch?
Raise hell, praise Dale.
There you go.
I didn't. Well, I was working with Cogswell and Matt Metler all night, and I asked Cogswell, I was like, "Hey, can you pit, or do you have to pit? Do this, do that?" He said, "No, I'm good to make it." So I was like, "All right, cool. You got the win." But me and Ricky, with our fresh 4 tires and all that fuel that we ended up taking for that last little stint, kind of worked in our favor. I seen Caleb, my ex-teammate, run out of fuel on the last lap. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's hand in bag here. And I know Ricky wanted to get that win here tonight. But, I just played that middle lane perfect as much as I could.
How bad was the tire wear here tonight? Because we saw a lot of you guys, including yourself, I believe, taking no tires, 2 tires. There was a lot of different tire strategy going on here. How bad or how good was the tire wear?
The tire wear wasn't really that bad, actually. Every pit stop that I took, I mean, my tires were almost 90% on the rights and then 90, 98 on the left. So, I mean, tire wasn't that bad. I had one stint, actually, that in the second stage, I changed my line completely, and I was diving it in a little bit too hard, taking a higher arc, and that right front kind of went down there. Didn't take tires at all in the stages until, the end of the stage, which was a big no-no, obviously, because, I go from the front to the back, but tires really didn't mean that much. If we had a short run, obviously you could definitely tell that they made a big difference.
Well, Cogswell finished third. Greg Wood, who was second place in points, comes out of here in fourth. So you'll gain on them. You were at 144 points going into tonight, going into Michigan next week. We know the championship is starting to wind down. I'm sure you're feeling a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more comfortable as this season winds down.
Oh, yeah. It just take one race at a time, just do what I can to finish well. I mean, it's all just going to be patience and putting yourself in the right place at the right time. And that's just what it ends up having to come down to. And glad that, I was able to come out here with the win at Charlotte.
Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to Blake Henderson for this awesome paint scheme. Jimmy Strong, Tony, we ran that Jimmy Strong race at Indy. Had to keep this paint scheme on here. It's been bringing me good luck.
Absolutely.
Want to give a big shout out to EPI for coming on board, join their truck dev program. So if you guys are looking for racing open setups, go to raceepi.com. They're bad fast. Michael Conti, Nick Ottinger, Dustin Hall, all those guys over at EPI. Thanks for coming on board this car. Putting me up here in victory lane, and can't wait to see what we do there. And a big shout out to my dad and Michelle out there watching every single week, rooting me on, and you guys up in the booth.
Winner of 5 of the last 8 points races, winner of 6 of the last 9, Dylan McDonald, your winner here again tonight.
Thank you, sir.
And Tony, I believe that will leave you with our second place finisher, Ricky Gonzalez.
Pride of the Fort Worth Fire Department, Ricky Gonzalez. all things considered, can't be too disappointed with a podium finish here in the Queen City.
Yeah, no, it was a definitely a good run. A way to bounce back. I know I've been absentee a couple races, so it was good to hang out with the guys and be able to race. Yeah, the pride of Fort Worth. I ran this paint scheme. This actually mocks a real life fire truck here in Fort Worth. My dad did 36 years on the fire department, so I just wanted to honor him and pay a tribute to him. He was a hero of mine when I grew up, still is a hero of mine. And so I just wanted to pay homage to him. He knows how much he means to me. The whole family watched the stream tonight. So I appreciate them tuning in. Yeah, I tried to drop it in fourth coming into the checkered and kind of smacked the wall. I kind of ruined the run that we had. And yeah, I just tried to get to Dylan's outside. Me and him race clean all year. And when we do other leagues as well, he races me super clean. So yeah, it's fun racing with somebody you know who's actually your really good friend on the server. And so yeah, it's second. It sucks, right? Because you always want to be in victory lane, especially with how dominant he's been all year. And to try to beat him toe to toe, that would have been fun. So yeah, we'll go next week if I'm here, and hopefully we can get one spot better and park it in victory lane.
What went through your mind when you saw Collins run out of fuel on the last lap?
Yeah, I was worried about Cogswell. I wanted to grab a podium spot. I always, when I do these things, I'm like, I want to get an interview. That's always the goal when I do these league races. But then I saw Caleb run out, and then we passed Cogswell, I guess, with coming to the white flag. And yeah, I saw him run out, and I was like, all right, here it is. I got to get to Dylan's quarter panel. If I get to his quarter panel, we may have a shot. But yeah, when we saw Caleb run out, I was like, oh, okay, this works out. Let's try to go get one.
Well, Ricky, again, great race all night long. Started towards the front. Who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate this Memorial Weekend?
Yeah, I just want to thank the Fort Worth Fire Department. Again, Dad did 36 years on the service, so appreciate him letting me run this paint scheme and Wes for painting it. Everybody at TTR and Rage, we have a lot of people in that group chat, as you can tell in Discord, so appreciate them. You guys in the booth for everything that you do at SRM. Dylan for racing me clean, appreciate that. Legacy Power, anybody interested in going residential solar, save a little bit on your electricity bill, definitely hit up legacypower.com. You go residential solar, and yeah, we'll go next week. You guys in the booth, everything you do at SRM, y'all do a fantastic job. I tune in weekly when y'all aren't doing our league races, so y'all do a really, really good job. Keep going. Y'all haven't even touched the limit yet. Tony, you do a really good job. I know you're here week in and week out. Appreciate both of y'all, and yeah, we'll go next week and try to do better.
Ricky Gonzalez, congratulations on the podium. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And Frank, I believe you've got our third place finisher with you now.
I do currently have our third place finisher, Jonathan Cogswell. Jonathan, Dylan said you had enough to make it through. What were you doing throughout that run to try to give yourself enough fuel to be able to make it without coming in?
I was basically clutching every turn going in, and really it was all working out well. I think with 8 to 10 to go, someone called out they were pitting, and I moved up high, gave him plenty of room, and for some reason he came up and smacked me, and then went into the pits, knocked my toe out, slowed my car down. I lost like a half a lap getting back up to speed, and it just wasn't the same, and it lost me the race.
You were gaining quite a bit there towards the end. Was that more of, okay, I know I can make it from here, now we'll go? Or was that just to heck with it? Now I know the other two are going to catch me. Let's just see where this takes us.
Well, I had to clutch every turn because if not, I wouldn't have made it. I ran out as soon as I crossed the finish line.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. How difficult was this race here tonight? It's a long one, a very long one, but there was a lot of close, tight-knit competitive racing here tonight. How difficult was this?
Yeah, if you wanted to pass someone, the only thing you could do is they make a mistake or you get track position. It was really the only way to pass.
All right, we go to Michigan next week, getting closer and closer to the end of the season. What, if anything, do you think you could do to try to make up that gap to Dylan at the top?
Yeah, beat him.
It's a good start.
There you go.
I get tired of getting second place to Dylan, let me tell you that.
It's certainly one heck of a start. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Thanks for broadcasting, and thank the league officials, even though they got a little heated today. I don't know what's going on, but I hope they sort that out, and we'll be back next week.
All right, bud. Your third place finisher here tonight, Jonathan Cogswell. Congratulations, bud.
Thanks. It was fun.
And with that, we've got another one in the books. Let's take a quick rundown of our finishing order. Dylan McDonald, Ricky Gonzalez, Jonathan Cogswell. We just spoke to those three. Greg Wood Jr. hangs on for fourth. Wes Fuller rounds out your top five. Zach Woods, Rhett Belzer, Richard Gonzalez, Caleb Collins, Bill Sleep rounding out your top 10. David Modespaw, Matt Metler rounding out your lead lap cars. James Jones finishing 2 laps down in 13th. Cody Mitchell and John McIntyre rounding out your top 15, and then rounding out the rest of the field, David Mayo, Josh Biltner, and James McCanney. And Frank, with that, I mean, I don't think we could have asked for a better race and better action than we saw tonight.
No, absolutely not. Tonight was fantastic. And again, this is a very, very long race. This was, let me see here. We were just 2 hours and 7 minutes, just a shade under 2 hours and 7 minutes here tonight. So this is a very, very long race. It does take a while. We know that there are some people starting tonight that are running the NIS Coke 600. Good luck to them, because
No thanks.
3.5 hours at Daytona was good enough for me. I don't need 4 or 5 hours here at Charlotte. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no thanks. But I'm going to be doing that on Sunday, as the Sunday night NASCAR Cup Series is going to be back here in the Queen City for 600 miles.
It's the greatest day in racing. Monaco in the morning, Indy 500 in the afternoon, Coke 600 at night. What better way to spend a Sunday?
Hashtag facts. But that is going to do it for us tonight. Frank Marchese, thank you so much for being a part of this broadcast. I don't think I could have gotten through this without you. Congratulations to everybody that did finish this very stressful race. Dylan McDonald extends his points lead. But again, remember, ladies and gentlemen, that this 3-day weekend, it's not just about barbecuing and having a day off of work on Monday. This weekend is for those brave men and women in the armed forces for the United States that didn't make it home. So at some point during this weekend, take a moment and tip your hat skyward, because the streets right now are being guarded by those same brave men and women up in the other realm. So until we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tony Chakasser reminding you that as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a huge favor. Don't play in traffic. Have a happy, safe Memorial Day weekend. Good night, everybody.